In 2011, the Institute for Water and Watersheds will celebrate its 50th anniversary. Although we are facing harsh realities of our shared water future, water is unique in its possibilities of bringing people together. This video compiles interviews with several different directors of water research over the last 50 years. It is important to look to the past, but even more significant is this opportunity, is to take this time to pause, to reflect, to mark in time, in order to fully inform the present day of the deep roots from which we continue to grow from.
We did probably the first study that was made of the economic value of the salmon steelhead sport fishery in Oregon.
There was also a strong emphasis in water quality, especially water quality on the Willamette. So that was always a big concern here in the States.
And towards outreach to helping the citizens of the state, whether they're farmers, whether they're engineers.
The Institute could provide the focus for people to get together and share their disciplines. Because water, there are so many aspects of water.
Involving state agencies and federal agencies and some local agencies as well. So it got me into an entirely different area than I'd been in as a conventional civil engineering faculty member.
All of the really good water scholars have been involved more or less continuously with the Water Institute at more or less levels of involvement. And so it wasn't like people spun off to do their own things. There was still always this cohort or this consistency with the Water Institute.
It really came out of a sense that a unique opportunity for Oregon State was to put together this very multidisciplinary graduate program around water. Water research going on in the College of Forestry, but it goes beyond just the discipline of forestry, and of course touches agriculture, engineering, and other geosciences and other aspects of water on campus. So the Institute's been great for connecting us as researchers to others across campus.
The Oregon Water Resources Research Institute was formed probably in the 60s. And the impetus for forming that was the federal government providing the land-grant university in each state with an allotment of money to promote research in the state on water issues of particular interest to the particular state.
It was interesting that the original Water Resources Program was an initiative of Senator Hatfield when he first went to Washington, D.C. and remained in that form at OSU as WRRI until then.
Well, I'd like to congratulate the Water Center at Oregon State University on reaching 50 years. The center actually played a role in my career. I was attracted to Oregon State by Emery Castle back in the late 60s. So congratulations.
the economics of water quality, and the other was the economic evaluation of outdoor recreation. On economics, they're very commonplace now, but the grant that I got to study Yaquina Bay in Oregon was one of the very first studies of the economics of water quality financed by the federal government. I think that what the Water Institutes have done is to bring people together across disciplinary lines, and I just think that's very, very important. It keeps research realistic in the first place. You can't make a lot of silly assumptions about some field other than your own if you've got to explain your research to people in other disciplines. So that's terribly important. The other important feature of this is that it lets us become relevant as far as public policy is concerned. And we can work closely with state agencies as well as with water users in addressing some of those problems.
We had an interdisciplinary team which included a couple of other universities in the Pacific Northwest, in Washington and Idaho, to look at the attributes of wild and scenic rivers, to try to identify for rivers in Washington, Oregon, and Idaho what kind of features were important to be considered in management by either the Bureau of Land Management or the Corps of Engineers or the Forest Service. So that included the Rogue River, of course, which was a great place to work, the Salmon River, excellent choice, and the Loxa River and a couple of others, which gave us all an opportunity to spend 3 or 4 days together in the field or over meals after and before going in the field, and really get to know people from totally different disciplines.
I thought this was very important. Corvallis is sort of on the edge of all of this, being in western Oregon and so on. You do need to travel throughout the state to understand what the problems in water are in different places.
Hello, I'm Stephen Schoenholtz. I'm the director of the Virginia Water Resources Research Center at Virginia Tech, and I was at Oregon State from 2001 to 2006. Had funding from the Water Center there when Ken Williamson was the director, and found it a really inspirational place to work. And I still look back to Oregon State with fond memories. It was a great water community, and I wish you all the best on your 50th anniversary.
It existed, but it was called CWEST, which stood for the Center for Water and Environmental Sustainability. And it had 2 co-directors, Denise Locke from sociology and the public policy program, and then Ken Williamson, who's over.
University was trying to reduce the cost of centers and institutes. And so one of the ways to do that is we collapsed 2 centers and tried to take on this concept of sustainability, which was really coming to the forefront at that time. Clearly a direction to go. It's the #1 issue in water resources planning now, is how to handle some of those social aspects. And that includes also the economic piece too, of just the whole pricing of water and how you can allocate water in more optimal ways. All of those issues, I think, were coming much more to the forefront than the more strict engineering approach that I came out of. And so I think Denise added a really strong addition to the whole Water Institute effort here at Oregon State.
Sustainability is all about protecting what we have, not using it up heedlessly or thoughtlessly. And people, when we started talking about sustainability 10 or 15 years ago, it wasn't a common word, and it was really threatening to a lot of people. And so we sort of felt like we were out there on the front lines. Ken had this belief that most of these issues were really social issues. Water issues are social issues, that they're social decisions. And so he believed against all the odds, against all the other water institutes in the state, that there needed to be a focus on people. And so I think I might have been either the first or the second social scientist who came into the state water resources research institutes and became an active and official part of one.
Successful with a large NSF project on water sustainability and climate. This is a 5-year, roughly $5 million project that pulls together about 20 researchers on campus in water, and also hydrologists from University of Oregon and Portland State. And our focus is on water scarcity in the Willamette and trying to understand the interactions between all the different parts of the water cycle, the economic component, the social, the biological, physical, engineering. So it's really a first attempt to come to grips with how climate change and how population change together will influence water quantity and water quality as well. It's really interesting. I visit lots of campuses as just part of my professional life, and talk with other folks on other campuses that are involved in water-related research, and we are, I wouldn't say unique, but we're close to unique, and certainly very powerful, and occupy sort of a relatively unique position because we are so multidisciplinarily focused here. The barriers between departments and disciplines is quite low at OSU, and the water part of that is just a great manifestation of the value of that.
Important at a university that you keep pushing out the edge of what knowledge is and what's going on in the world. It would be just too easy for us to sit back and do our thing here and teach the students what we learned, or get money to do the same thing over and over again. And I really think it's our responsibility, our obligation to just keep pushing.